Hello, and welcome to the Laughing Goblins. We are your hosts, Bon Bon
and Holly.
On this show, we cover literature and mythology. We occasionally delve into our special interests, like our next episode,
which will be on Karl Marx and Stephen Sondheim. You're welcome.
Because we have ADD and cannot be stopped. Last episode, we covered Cantos 5 and 6, where Virgil and Dante visit Circle 2, the Circle of Lust, and Circle 3, the Circle of Gluttony. In this episode, we shall begin with Canto 7, where Dante and Virgil are at the beginning of Circle 4, talking with Plutus, the god of wealth, or Pluto.
And interestingly, last episode I kept bringing up how we keep using Greek mythos and appearances. Pluto is Hades!
Yes. Our afraid count last episode was 6, and our faint count was 2.
Let's see if we add to these counts in this episode.
Papa Satan, al Pape. The voice of Pluto's cluck these words at us. That kind of sage, to whom all things were known, said reassuringly, do not let fear defeat you. For whatever be his power, he cannot stop our journey down this rock. Then he turned toward that swollen face of rage, crying, be quiet, cursed wolf of hell! Feed on the burning bile that rots your guts. This journey to the depths does have a reason, for it is willed on high, where Michael wrought a just revenge for the bold assault of God. As sails swollen by wind, when the ship mast breaks, collapse, deflated, tangled in a heap, just so the savage beast fell to the ground, and then we started down a fourth abyss, making our way along the dismal slope, where all evil of the world is dumped. And, God's avenging justice, who could heap up suffering and pain as strange as I saw here? How can we let out our guilt bring us to this? As every wave, Charybdis whirls to sea, comes crashing against its counter-current wave, so these folks must dance their round delay. Where more shades were here than anywhere above, and from both sides, to the sound of their own strings straining their chests, they rolled enormous weights. And when they met and clashed against each other, they turned to push the other way, one side screaming, why hoard? The other side, why waste?
So here are the misers and the prodigals. So one of them refused to spend money, and the other ones just spend money like it's worth nothing. And they're both in hell.
Yes.
So this is almost like Siddharthic Buddhism approach, which is you have to find a middle path. You can't save every penny, but you can't spend like you have endless amounts of wealth. Both are bad.
It would be like starving versus overeating. Both are bad.
You must find a middle path. Moderation. Moderation is the way. And so they moved round the gloomy circle, returning on both sides to opposite poles, to scream their shameful tune another time. Again they came to clash and turn and roll, forever in their semicircle joust. And I, my heart pierced through by such a sight, spoke out, my master, please explain to me, who are those people here? Were they all priests, these tonsured souls I see there to our left? See now, Dante, you can't be throwing priests into hell. I mean, you can. Again, historically, there have been plenty of priests that deserve it. But,
yes, just as Ireland.
Or,
here.
So many people. But you live in a very Catholic country, and they are not going to be pleased by you throwing the sons of God or servants of God or... Okay, we got to look up what priests are referred to as in Italy.
Servants of God, I believe, but yeah.
He said, in their first life, all you see here had such myopic minds they could not judge with moderation when it came to spending. Their barking voices make this clear enough when they arrive at the 2 points on the circle, where opposing guilts divide them into two. The ones who have a bald spot on their heads were priests, and popes and cardinals, in whom avarice is most likely to prevail. Again, Dante. This is why you get exiled. I'm surprised he wasn't straight up...
He's basically like saying, the church is overspending, this is why these people are here.
They're greedy. They're morally and literally bankrupt.
Yes.
I'm surprised he wasn't straight up exiled from Italy. I'm surprised they only kept it to Florence.
Well, maybe they couldn't, I don't know.
Maybe they couldn't enforce it?
Exile's weird.
Okay. Master, in such a group as this, I should be able to recognize a few who dirtied themselves by such crimes as these. And he replied, yours is an empty hope. Their undistinguished life that made them foul now makes it harder to distinguish them. Eternally the two will come to blows. Then from the tomb they shall be resurrected, these with ticed fists, those without any hair. It was squandering and hoarding that have robbed them of the lovely world and got them in this brawl. I will not waste choice words describing it. Okay, that's one way to keep to your line count.
I mean, yeah. And I don't have to describe anything, because I'm just saying I will not describe it.
I won't name names, but no church, a bunch of you.
There's a bunch of you.
Are in the greed circle.
And you should be here, because I put you here. I am the writer. Ha-ha! You see, my son, the short-lived mockery of all the wealth that is in fortune's keep, over which the human race is bickering. For all the gold that is or ever was beneath the moon won't buy a moment's rest for even one among these weary souls. Master, now tell me what this fortune is you touched upon before. What is she like who holds all worldly wealth within her fists? And he said to me, O foolish race of man, how overwhelming is your ignorance. Now listen while I tell you what she means. That one whose wisdom knows infinity, made all the heavens and gave each one a guide, and each a sphere shine on all the others. So light is spread with equal distribution. For worldly splendors he decreed the same, and ordained a guide and general ministress, who would at her discretion shift the world's vain wealth from nation to nation, house to house, and with no chance of interference from mankind. So while one nation rules, another falls, according to whatever she decrees, her sentence hidden like a snake in the grass. Your knowledge has no influence on her, for she foresees, she judges, and she rules her kingdom as the other gods do theirs. Her changing changes never takes a rest. Necessity keeps her in constant motion, as men come and go to take their turn with her.
Okay. Still don't know this interesting person's name.
I think she's Fortune.
Oh. And this is she so crucified and cursed. Even those in luck who should be praising her instead revile her and condemn her acts. But she is blessed, and in her bliss hears nothing. With all God's joyful first created creatures, she turns her spheres, and blessed turns it to joy. Now let's move down to greater wretchedness. The stars that rose when I set out for you are going down. We cannot stay too long. We cross the circle to its other bank, passing a spring that boils and overflows into a ditch the spring itself cut out. The water was deeper dark than purse, and we, with its gray waves for company, made our way down along a rough, strange path. The dingy little stream, when it has reached the bottom of the gray malignant slopes, became a swamp that has the name of Styx. Okay, so it's not a river. It's a swamp.
It's a swamp river.
Dante, stop doing this!
It's a swamp-like river. It's a bog! Yay! Boggy, boggy, bog, bog.
And while Bon Bon plays in the bog, we shall keep going.
What do you want? I'm a swamp witch, okay, guys?
And I, intent on looking as we passed, saw muddy people moving in that marsh, all naked, with their faces scarred by rage. They fought each other, not with hands alone, but struck with head and chest and feet as well. With teeth they tore each other limb from limb. And the good teacher said, "My son, now see the souls of those that anger overcame. And I ask you to believe me when I say, beneath the slimy top are slying souls who make these water bubble at the surface. Your eyes will tell you this. Just look around." Makes you wonder if Tolkien maybe got his creepy person swamp, both from Lord of the Rings, like both from this and War.
Probably. I mean, he also probably saw the bogs themselves when he toured places. Bogs are a lot of places.
There are many bogs.
I think the most famous bogs are in Ireland, though, and England.
Yeah, the English did fight the Irish many times, so.
And then you also have the bog men and the bog people.
Oh, yeah.
Bogged in the slime, they say, sluggish we were in the sweet air made happy by the sun, and smoke of sloth was smoldering in our hearts. And now we lie sluggish here in this black muck. This is the hymn they gurgle in their throats, but cannot sing in words that truly sound. Then making a wide arc, we walk around the pond between the dry bank and the slime, our eyes still fixed on those who gobbled mud. We came in time to the foot of a high tower. I just love how there's a hymn that they can't actually say because they're getting mud in their throats all the time. And they're gurgling, basically, forever, for eternity. Wonderful, Dante. Thank you.
I mean, hypothetically, you could kind of, like, sing a tune through a gurgle.
Maybe. I wouldn't want to, though.
No, that sounds like a really great way to start to choke.
And basically, if you're slothful, you're basically the sin of depression. Yay!
Again,
this is how we're going to punish the people who
depression
are
is
sloth.
not a sin. It's a medical condition.
It is.
I feel like there's a difference between depressed and lazy.
There is, but not back then.
I know.
Back then, they didn't.
I can still be angry about it.
I'm angry too, friend. I'm angry too. Despite my
Join me
tone.
in my anger.
Yes.
Ha ha ha. Sure. All right.
We begin Canto 8 now. Woo!
I must explain, however, that before we finally reached the foot of that high tower, our eyes had been attracted to its summit by two small flames we saw flare up just there, and so far off the eye could hardly see. Another burning torch flashed back a sign. I turned to that vast sea of human knowledge. What signals this? And the other flame, what does it answer? And who's doing this? And he replied, you should already see across the filthy waves what has been summoned, unless the marsh's vapors hide it from you. A bowstring never shot an arrow off that cut the thin air any faster than a little boat I saw that very second, skimming along the water in our direction, with a solitary steersman who was shouting, "Aha! I've got you now, you wretched soul!" "Flagus, Flagus, this time you shout in vain," my lord responded. "You will have us with you no longer than it takes to cross the muck." As one who learns of some incredible trick just played on him flares up resentfully, so Flagus there was seething in his anger. My leader calmly stepped onto the skiff, and when he was inside he had me enter, and only then it seemed to carry weight. As soon as my guide and I were in the boat, the ancient prow began to plow the water, more deeply now than any time before.
Ah, Flagus, the son of Mars.
And interesting that Virgil, along with apparently emitting some sort of glow, is weightless.
Yes. He can transport people, he's weightless, and he glows. He's truly a magical soul.
He is a balloon. A balloon in this dire dankness.
Yes, a balloon! He shall float away, but doesn't somehow...
Come back, Virgil the balloon!
He doesn't come back, but he doesn't need to come back because he's just weightless. He just goes, wee, wee.
Okay.
As we sailed the course of this dead channel, before me there arose a slimy shape. The slimy shape is
apparently Filippo Argenti, and he's actually somebody, again, that Dante knew. He was also a political opponent of Dante's. He was a black Guelph.
He is a member of the Adamari family. A slimy shape that said, "Who are you? Who come before your time?" And I spoke back, "Though I come, I do not stay. But who are you? You in all your ugliness." "You see that I am the one who weeps," he answers. And then I said to him, "May you weep and wail, stuck here in this place forever, you damned soul, for filthy as you are, I recognize you."
So, interestingly, when you try to figure out what he did to get placed into hell,
Dante just basically doesn't like him, and he deserves to be.
He might have once slapped Dante.
Yes. If someone slapped me, I would put them in hell too. Automatically. Yes. I agree.
"You, sir, to hell!"
"You, sir, have offended me. I shall write you into hell."
I guess that would count as wrathfulness. But I'm picturing you walking down the street and just some person coming up and being like, "Pow!"
Wow. Didn't that almost happen to you?
No, I did get punched.
Oh.
Punched in the face by that one guy.
Yeah.
Fun times.
Fun times, fun times. With that, he stretched both hands out towards the boat, but on his guard, my teacher pushed him back. "Away! Get down there with the other curs." And then he put his arms around my neck and kissed my face and said, "Indignant soul, blessed is she whose womb you were conceived. In the world this man was filled with arrogance, and nothing good about him decks his memory. For this his shade is filled with fury here. Many in life esteem themselves great men, who then will wallow here like pigs in mud." There's pigs again. He really likes pigs.
He also likes dogs. People
Yeah.
keep calling people curs.
They do. And Virgil is kissing him on the face. Yay! A weird love of Virgil. Raised his ugly head again. And every Canto, apparently. We cannot avoid it. Here it is.
No.
I did not know this was your boyfriend, Dante. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
For all the jokes we make about Dante loving
Virgil.
Yeah.
Loving Virgil?
Yes, him. Apparently he was married not to the other person he apparently loves, Beatrice, but to
Beatrice.
some other woman who did give him 2 children.
Beatrice married a banker, but she was the daughter of a banker, so that makes sense.
Yes, we
class
keep the banking in the family.
System. Well, I mean, the class system, it makes sense. She's not going to marry a poet, is she? Especially an exiled poet.
Well, I don't know if he got married before or after he got exiled. They did tend to marry fairly young in this time and age.
Leaving behind them their repulsive frame, master, it certainly would make me happy to see him dunk deep in the slop just once before we leave this lake. It truly would. Okay, Dante, I get you hate this guy, but you're like, I need to see him dunk before we leave. Dunk him in the slop, yes!
Listen!
In the swamp you go!
If Filippo's family legitimately knew that this was supposed to be Filippo, because again, his name's not actually said in the Canto, but if they knew this was supposed to be Filippo, then it kind of makes sense when they were like, we don't want this dude back in Florence.
Yeah. And just the giddiness in that sentence, though.
I can't wait to punch him into the muck!
Pretty much. And he to me, before the other shore comes into sight, you will be satisfied. A wish like that is worthy of fulfillment. Soon afterward, I saw the wretch so mangled by a gang of muddy souls that to this day I thank my Lord and praise him for that sight. And you're wrong. He does name him in the book.
Oh, oops. Get Filippo Argenti! They all cried. And at those shouts, the Florentine, gone mad, turned on himself and bit his body fiercely. Jesus Christ. That's a bit much.
Again, the hate for him is so deep.
And also,
this is like an obsession level of hatred. I hate you so much. I need to. This is why I always say, don't piss off writers. They will torture you in their literature in some way.
You will be in a swamp, and people will hate you.
And bite you.
No, he bit himself.
Oh, I'm sorry. You will bite yourself in the swamp because they hate you so much.
We left him there. I'll say no more about him. A wailing noise began to pound my ears and made me strain my eyes to see ahead. And now, my son, the gentle teacher said, I'm not buying that Virgil is gentle when he's watching Dante punch people into muck and having so much fun doing it.
He did live in Rome, so maybe.
Coming closer is the city we call Dis, with its great walls and its fierce citizens. And I, Master, already I can see the clear glow of its mosques above the valley, burning bright red as though just forged and left to smolder. And he to me, eternal fire burns within, giving off the reddish glow you see diffused throughout this lower hell. And then at last we entered those deep moats that circled all of this unhappy city, whose walls, it seemed to me, were made of iron. For quite a while we sailed around until we reached a place and heard our boatsman shout with all his might, Get out! Here's the entrance. I saw more than 1,000 fiendish angels perched above the gates, enraged, screaming, Who is the one approaching? Who, without death, dares walk into this kingdom of the dead? And my wise teacher made some sort of signal, announcing he would speak to them in secret. They managed to suppress their great resentment enough to say, You come, but he must go who thought to walk so boldly through this realm.
Let him retrace his foolish way alone. Just let him try. And you who led him here, through this dark land, you'll stay right where you are. And now, my reader, consider how I felt when those foreboding words came to my ears. I thought I'd never see our world again. Oh, my dear guide. Oh, my dear guide, who more than 7 times restored my confidence and rescued me from many dangers that block my going on. Don't leave me, please, I cried in my distress. And if the journey onward is denied us, let's turn our footsteps back together quickly.
See, even Dante knows that he's more afraid than he probably should be.
Then that Lord who brought me all this way said, "Do not fear. The journey we are making none can prevent. Such power did decree it. Was it here for me and feed our weary spirit with comfort and good hope? You can be sure I will not leave you in this underworld." With this, he walks away. He leaves me here. That gentle father and I stay doubting and battling with my thoughts of yes, but no. I could not hear what he proposed to them, but they did not remain with him for long. I saw them race each other back for home. Our adversary slammed the heavy gates in my lord's face, and he stood there outside, then turned toward me and walked back very slowly, with eyes downcast, all self-assurance now erased from his forehead, sighing, "Who are these to forbid my entrance to the halls of grief?" He spoke to me. "You need not to be disturbed by my vexation, for I shall win the contest, no matter how they plot to keep us out. This insolence of theirs is nothing new. They used it once at a less secret gate, which is and will forever be unlocked. You saw the deadly words inscribed above it, and now, already past it, and descending across the circles down the slope alone, comes one by whom the city will be opened." And that is the end of Canto 8.
So we leave ourselves with a count of 8 afraidness and 2 faint-itises. We'll see you next time for our special interest episode, starring Karl Marx and Stephen Sondheim. I will not apologize for this.
No. And I shall bear with it as much as I can with the rest of you.
You know you love me.
You can reach us at
thelaughinggoblins@gmail.com. You can also find us on our social medias. I'm at Polydermaboy.
I'm at Blank Esquire.
And please join our Patreon. Patreon.com/laughinggoblins, where we now have tiers with exciting new categories.
Yes, you could be a frog wizard for $3 or
A cat mage for $5. Both come with their own unique
benefits. So, tune in there and we'll see you next time. Bye!